everyone, it's Alyssa, and this is the second part that I'm doing for the Criterion films that are currently streaming on HBO Max. This way, we can all save a little bit of money because I've already gone a second time to Barnes& and Noble and gotten 4 more films, and I think it might happen one more time, but at the same time, I am trying to hold back the slightest bit, and so I made this list of all the Criterion films that are streaming on HBO Max right now, and there were a few that I wanted, and so now I'm not gonna buy them, and I can just hold off on it, and it's great. So we are going to start back up with 101. And what's kind of crazy about all of this is I filmed this video already, and for whatever reason, when it recorded, the voice and the picture were totally off. So I'm like, I'm just going to redo it. But incidentally, I watched this first one. So I Married a Witch. I saw it last night for the first time, and now I've already bought the biography for Veronica Lake. I want to kind of learn everything about her. It was such a cute movie. I had seen the actor, I forget his name, but he was in Merrily We Go to Hell, which I had just seen on the Criterion channel. But this was the first time I saw Veronica Lake in a film. And I was kind of shocked by the performance. It wasn't what I expected. Like, it wasn't, I have this vision in my head from watching LA Confidential, which I have watched so many times. And Kim Basinger is the woman who is meant to look like Veronica Lake. And I won't give away who she is or what she's doing, but I always thought, oh, that must have been what Veronica Lake was like. And it's not at all. She's like this tiny, tiny woman who is funny and kind of childish and not at all what I expected. So I would definitely watch that film. All right, and moving on, and I will go so much quicker with the other ones. So I shot Jesse James is on the list. Eve Vitelloni is on the list. Moving forward, up Ikiru is most definitely on the list. The Immortal Story. And then this, which I am very much looking forward to seeing In the Heat of the Night on HBO Max. I know that Ingrid Bergman was this one too? Yes. In Which We Serve is also a Criterion film, but I knew for a fact that Ingrid Bergman, in her own words, was also a Criterion film. And I'm just so interested with Ingrid Bergman lately. Beside, like, once I saw her in Notorious, and I've seen her in other, obviously I've seen Casablanca, but there was something about her performance in Notorious, which I actually got that as a Criterion film, where I just kind of wanted to delve so much more into her. So there are so many Criterion films with Ingrid Bergman on HBO Max right now. So that is one. Intermezzo is another. Invasion of the Astro Monster, that is quite clearly from the Godzilla. And then Definitely Not It Can Happen to You. I know Ivan the Terrible is the two parts that we have over there. And then Jude, me and French is It's Never Going to Work. J'ai tu il elle, and then Jean Dillman, and I will not pronounce the rest and just completely embarrass myself. I know Jimmy plays Monterey, pretty sure that is a Criterion film. This bothers me because I was looking at this before. Why is the Rainmaker next to Joe versus the Volcano? Like, this is all alphabetical. That just, I don't know, gets to me. Journey to Italy obviously is Jules and Jim. Let me see if Journey to the Center. No, it is not. So Jules and Jim, and then Juliet of the Spirits is another one. This version of the Jungle Book, which is part of the Eclipse 30 version. I know, is it Just Neighbors? Nope, that is not one. But this one is, and I'll try to say it, Kameradschaft. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but I did my best. Next is The Kid. Now, The Kid is all of the Charlie Chaplin movies, and I've seen a bunch at this point. The Kid is my favorite one, and The Kid is actually the silent film that I teach to my film students, because it is, everyone walks in with such a preconceived notion of what silent film is, and they just a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people walk in with sort of a bad attitude, and I feel like The Kid is the movie that actually gets through to people, and that one scene where the kid is fighting the other kid, and it is hysterical, and it gets so many laughs in my classes, and everyone is like most people, I don't wanna say everyone, but most people are like, "This is so much better than I expected a silent film to be." So then I try to move to something like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, but that doesn't work as well as The Kid. But still, it's just it's fantastic. There's The Kid Brother, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. They have both the director cut here, which is kind of nice. The King of Kings right over here. I know Clute is one. And then we have La Notte. I know La Pointe Court is another. Obviously, La Strada. Obviously, Lady Snowbird and Lady Snowbird Love Song of Vengeance, which is Quentin Tarantino was inspired by this for Kill Bill. The Lady Vanishes, which I saw for the first time maybe like 6, 7 months ago. And I shouldn't be surprised that an older Hitchcock movie is actually really funny, more lighthearted than I expected, but it was just such a good movie. So very much recommend The Lady Vanishes. Larson the Real Girl, alas, is not part of it. Not part of it yet, but I could see it being one day. I know The Last Emperor is another, so let's just move on the list. Also, The Last Wave, Late Autumn, Late Spring, Le Bonheur, Le Samurai, obviously. Is the letter? Nope. And then The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. Limelight is another. And then from there, we go to The Lodger, so another Hitchcock film, and then all of these. So The Lone Wolf and Cub, this entire series. You have everything here right now on HBO Max. The Long Good Friday. Let's see. The Lord of the Flies. As an English teacher, this is always a little bit of a bane of your existence because you will just there is so much exposure to this book, to this story, to the film, some good, some bad. It's just I think it just triggers, some difficult afternoons when I see that movie. But anyway, that's totally separate. Moving on, Love in the Afternoon. M is another Criterion film. Macbeth, not a Criterion film, but it just always hits me because I liked it, and I love Michael Fassbender in it, and the visuals are just gorgeous, but I just wanted it to be a little bit better than what it was, or a little bit fuller. Maybe I didn't love Marion Cotillard, which actually pains me because I love her in everything else. The Man Who Knew Too Much. So this is the original one that Alfred Hitchcock did, and then he did the one with Jimmy Stewart and Doris Day. And then moving on from there, we go to obviously Masculine, Feminine, and then Master of the House. I thought that was one. And then moving on again. Oh, how could you not love Memento? It's not Criterion, but there is following from Chris Nolan on Criterion. So if you haven't seen Memento, that is absolutely must watch. We have Menace to Society, Mikey and Nikki. Moving on to Modern Times, Monocle. And then Mona Lisa, which is one that I have had on the list for a while. Like, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's Bob Hoskins. Or I just think of him as like being a kid, and I would see him in movies a lot. But I definitely need to see Mona Lisa. M. Hewlett's Holiday is another one. Monsieur Verdot is another. We have Monterey Pop. Obviously, Moonrise Kingdom, which is an excellent Wes Anderson movie. Moonstruck, which that is fairly recent, but I couldn't believe Moonstruck was part of Criterion because that was my childhood. Like growing up in an Italian family, this movie was the movie that my dad would always put on. Just loved it. So from Nick Cage's performance, every single ounce of this movie, it means something to me, and it reminds me of childhood, and I remember my dad would always be like, "This is what it's actually like to be Italian," rather than every single mob movie that was popular at the time. Then next up is Morocco, which I loved that. That was Gary Cooper, which I didn't realize Gary Cooper was in that film, and Marlene Dietrich. Then you have The Mortal Storm, which is not part of Criterion, but I did want to mention it because I saw it and I was just like, wow, this is such a great movie. And then I checked and it was on the 1001 movies you should see before you die. So it's definitely popular. The Most Dangerous Game, Mothra versus Godzilla. Then what else? Want to make sure we're not missing any. Then we're going to go all the way down to My Dinner with Andre. And then The Naked City right over here, Nanook of the North. I haven't seen that yet. I want to because I know I should, but there's also a part of me that I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. So that's one that I feel like I'm gonna put off for a while more. Uh, One that I have seen and is incredibly depressing, horrible, but necessary to watch is Night and Fog. So that's a high recommend, but it's the kind of thing you can handle only a few times in your life. That's the best way I can put it. It is incredibly, incredibly depressing to watch. And then from there, a very different movie, Night of the Living Dead. And then we have The Night Porter. None of these. Now Voyager is another one. Obviously, Oliver Twist. And then On the Waterfront, which I have seen 3 times in my life. The first time I saw it was when I was in high school, and we actually had to take in my high school a mandatory 1 quarter film class, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I always loved movies. Like growing up as a kid, I just loved film, but at the same time, I didn't know what to look for. And I remember it was Mr. Wyland in that class who taught me everything. And the movie, and we saw 12 Angry Men. We saw the From Here to Eternity. We saw On the Waterfront, but On the Waterfront, I loved all of them. But On the Waterfront really stuck out in my head. And it just, Marlon Brando, the quality of that performance is never overemphasized enough. He is ridiculous, regardless of how you feel about him as a person. It's just what a performance. And I got it. I have this film on Criterion and I just rewatched it the other day. And man, it is just so beautiful with the Criterion edition. See, there's one. I'm glad I have the physical copy. There is Orpheus, Osaka Elegy, then Paisan, and then the silent film Pandora's Box, Paris is Burning, Paris, Texas, The Passion of Joan of Arc, and I believe even Peter Panchali. I couldn't read it for a second. I couldn't see the say. Yep, all on Criterion. And then from there, I want to make sure I didn't skip People on Sunday. So this is a Criterion film. I've never heard of it. Persona, of course. Philadelphia Story. I changed this. Also, it is the funniest movie. Like this, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn at their best. So funny, whip smart, such fast-paced dialogue. Just one of my favorite films. There's The Piano Teacher and Picnic at Hanging Rock, which I've been holding on to the Criterion Blu-ray for a while. There is something about it that just looks like a summer movie to me, which is why I haven't seen it yet. But this is one of the Criterions that I've been holding off for just the right moment. The Player is one that I remember when I was a kid and it came out and I was way too young to see it, but I just was so interested in that film because I knew it was about the movie business, and then I sort of forgot about it. And then once I started looking into Criterion again, I saw that this was one of the films, and now it's very much in my head that I need to see it. There is Police Story with Jackie Chan. The Private Life of Henry VIII, and then let's check because a lot of those I knew off the top of my head. Oh, and this I would obviously also. So Punch Drunk Love, which is just such a great movie. And what I love about it is it's only, I think, like an hour and a half. It's a very short film. It's meaningful, but there is something so like whimsical and beautiful about it. It's an easy movie for me to watch. It's not as heavy as some of the other ones on this list. And so that is one that I can watch many, many times. Pygmalion, which I have never seen, though I actually have taught the play before. Uh, and I used to always show My Fair Lady with it instead of Pygmalion. Quadrophenia is another. And then from there, we go to, of course, Rashomon. And then with that, the red balloon, red beard, red desert, red shoes. So everything red is part of Criterion, except for this red Sonia. And then from there, let's make sure we don't miss anything. And we are going to go for one more, and that is Rembrandt. So we're going to leave off today with the film Rembrandt. That gets us to number 200. So please watch for the third part of this video where we finish up the list. I will also give you all the websites so that you can see the list and just have that to hold on to yourself. And please, if I forget anything, which I already have, which I already put in, someone had said I forgot something from the first part, and I did, and I put it in. So please, please let me know if I forget something. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.